I don't know, man. I'm just gonna I'm gonna start these videos. I'm gonna just start by like videos from now. I'm just press play like as soon on site. Like when I press play, the video's starting. Like
This presents
I don't know what the fuck I'd be doing in the beginning.
4 creepy and disturbing true school lockdown stories.
Okay. One of y'all requested this one.
The Salem High School lockdown. In the weeks following the Columbine shooting
video
in
long
April
as shit.
1999 that left 15 people dead, many schools around the world were on high alert over the fear of copycat crimes. It was around this time that lockdown procedures were introduced in schools.
Okay.
One such school to implement lockdown procedures was Salem High School in Plymouth, Michigan. Their first drill happened 2 weeks after the Columbine shooting. The students were told that there would be a drill sometime during the day, but they didn't know when it would happen. They had all been prepared for it too. Once the fire alarm sounded, they were supposed to turn off the lights in the classrooms and hide under their desks.
Yeah.
During the drill, the principal and the vice principals would roam the halls with police officials to examine the school. Everything seemed to go according to plan, and the principal announced that the drill was over.
Oh, it's a drill.
15 minutes later, the principal and the VPs were in a meeting room with the officers reviewing the drill. Suddenly, a teacher, 27-year-old Patrick Fort, burst into the conference room. He said that one of his students in his grade 9 English class, 14-year-old Megan Ross, was missing. Fort said he knew he wasn't supposed to let anyone leave in the middle of class because of the drill, and Fort even told her she wasn't supposed to leave the room when she asked to use the washroom. However, Megan insisted she needed to go, and Fort didn't feel comfortable not letting her, so he told her to hurry. Megan left the classroom about a minute before the drill started. When she didn't return after the drill, Fort thought she might have been with the principal or in another class, or she would return at any minute. However, as the period came to an end, Megan hadn't returned.
Disturbing. Oh shit.
The police, the principal, the VPs, and Fort searched for the 14-year-old, but she was nowhere to be found. An Amber Alert was initiated, and a full-scale search of the school was launched. Dogs were brought to the school, and they searched both inside and outside of the school. The dogs found Megan's scent throughout the school, but there was no physical trace of her. Next, the police reviewed the school's surveillance tapes. It was 1999, so there weren't many cameras, and the videos weren't clear. Nevertheless, Megan was spotted on one of the cameras, heading towards the girls' washroom. However, after disappearing from the camera's range, Megan Ross simply disappeared, and no one knows what happened to her. One thing that the police and school officials know is that Megan didn't leave the school. They know this because while there weren't many security cameras in the school, every entrance was recorded. Also, once the school went into lockdown, school officials locked the doors, hence why it is called a lockdown. They were also roaming the hallways, and no one saw Megan in their rounds. As to what happened to 14-year-old Megan Ross remains a mystery. Theories are that she was killed somewhere inside the school, and her body was burned in the school's incinerator. Another
school has that?
based purely on speculation is that Megan somehow slipped into an alternate dimension. However, without any physical evidence or someone coming forward with new information,
honestly,
the case will likely remain a mystery.
Like the fuck?
Number 3. Lockdown shooting.
Like, I know I laughed, but I mean, what, you know what I mean? She just ascended, like, I don't, that's insane.
In the week leading up to
What is she
April
still in that
16, 2011, Park Hill High School in Kansas City, Missouri had received vague threats that something may happen on that day. The threats were emailed to the school, and they didn't outright say something violent would happen. Instead, the emails just said that it would be a big day. The police looked into the emails, who came from someone named Stephen Herbert Chen, but the emails were untraceable. This put the school in a tough position, because they didn't want to cancel school over a prank or a misunderstanding. It would make them look weak and stupid. Anytime a kid wanted school canceled in the future, all they would have to do was email a vague message to the school. However, there was a legitimate reason to worry. April 16, 2011 was the 5th anniversary of the Virginia Tech shooting, which was the deadliest school shooting in American history.
What?
And the emailer had the same initials as the shooter.
Yo.
After discussing the matter with the police, the school decided to go ahead and open the school that day.
God damn it.
On that day, the atmosphere at the school was tense. Students could sense the...
I would not want to be there. I'd be like, yo, fuck that. I'm like, what the hell?
Nervous energy. However, police officers guarding every entrance probably was a big contributing factor to the atmosphere.
Actually, then again, I don't know.
The students got to their classes, and the announcements began.
I had a bomb threat and I was
listened intently, hoping to hear why the police were outside when they heard the loud pop, pop, pop of gunfire somewhere outside of the school. The principal got on the PA and ordered the school locked down. The students locked themselves in their classrooms and turned off the lights. Everything in the school was quiet. They could hear gunfire and police shouting outside, but the school itself was quiet. That's when a napalm bomb went off in the art room. The 2 students who were immediately in front of the cupboard that held the bomb were killed.
What?
5 others were injured. The napalm also set fire to the classroom. Seconds after the first explosion, another bomb detonated not far away in another classroom down the hall. No one was killed, but 13 were injured. The napalm also caused the 2 classrooms to catch on fire. Several teachers realized the school was on fire and ordered the kids out of the classroom. Windows were smashed and kids climbed and jumped out of them. Many more kids braved the hallways and ran towards the doors. The problem was that all the doors were locked, and the officer wasn't able to get the doors open before hundreds of students converged on the doorway closest to the fires. A 17-year-old boy was killed when he was crushed against the doors, while 2 other students were severely hurt. Dozens more were hurt.
Wait, what? Wait, I mean,
closest to the fires. A 17-year-old boy, the doors were locked and smashed, and kids climbed and jumped out of them. Many more kids braved the hallways and ran towards the doors. The problem was that all the doors were locked, and the officer wasn't able to get the doors open before hundreds of students converged on the doorway closest to the fires. A 17-year-old boy was killed when he was crushed against the doors, while 2 other students were severely...
Wait, so what is... So he just like ran into that shit and he just like died, or like... Because caught in between both the doors. It's not like they... What?
They hurt. Dozens more were hurt when they jumped out of the windows from the 2nd floor of the school.
Okay, well, I mean, I could see that happening.
When the students did get outside, no one was shot. It turns out that there weren't any gunmen. It had been a decoy involving timed firework explosions. The fire was also contained, but it caused millions of dollars worth of damage. In total, 3 students were killed, 18 people were burned severely, 2 were permanently injured in the stampede, and dozens more sustained minor injuries.
Wow, man.
No one was really sure who planted the bombs.
How did homie die?
And no one was arrested.
He just ran into the door so hard.
The main question people had regarding the case is, why would someone go to all of this trouble? Why not just bomb the school? Why send the emails and draw unnecessary attention to the attack? Police speculate that forcing the school in lockdown mode had a 2-fold effect. The first was that it ensured that students were around the bomb when it detonated. The second was that the panic was part of the plan, and that the collateral damage was just as important as the bomb going off. Both of these conclusions were drawn from the final email from Stephen Herbert Chen that was sent after the bombing, and it read, "You will never be safe." As for who planted the bombs and the real identity of the emailer, it's a mystery to this day. However, the police believe it was most likely a pair or a team who committed the crime.
Yo, she's
they were
smiling,
also
bro.
Most likely students. It is the only unsolved school massacre in America.
Wow.
And the police hope that one day the conscience of one of the bombers will compel him or her to come forward, and it will close
this video's got me tweaked. Like,
Number 2.
It's just chilling.
The Cohen Town School Lockdown. School lockdowns are generally considered a rather new phenomenon.
What the fuck?
But one of the most terrifying stories about a school lockdown comes from the picturesque small town of Cohen, Germany. and it happened in 1938. It all started on the morning of September 10, and according to news reports at the time, it was a beautiful, sunny day. The town had one small school. There were only 3 classrooms and about 100 students. The oldest group of students was studying math when a 14-year-old boy noticed a man walking up the path towards the school. The headmaster also must have noticed the man because he went out to meet him. As the strange man came closer, the boy realized that he was dressed in an ill-fitting tight black suit. Even stranger, his face was painted like a clown, and his hair was blood red. The boy also saw that the clown was carrying a long wooden handle in his right hand. As the headmaster approached the stranger without warning, the clown raised the handle, which was an axe, and he buried it into the headmaster's face. The boy screamed, and the rest of the class, including the teacher, looked out the window where they saw the clown pull the axe out of the headmaster, and they all started screaming. After removing the axe, the clown, now stained with blood, started to move towards the school.
Bro,
the teacher,
did he start running?
A woman named Eva Weber.
No, dude, look, like as soon as homie just like yanks that out, and if he just starts booking it, like on some Usain Bolt, I would have defecated myself. I don't care, like, you know, I'm not here to act tough or not. I know, like, I'd like to think not, but I could, like, I know, I would just shit.
What the broke through the students' screams and got them to run to the securest place on the school grounds.
This is worse than a creepypasta.
Besides the few children frozen in fear, they all ran out of the classroom,
should we react to creepypastas?
And into the chapel.
Let me know.
After Weber got the frozen children to move, she went to the other classrooms and got the 2 other teachers and the other students into the chapel. As Weber closed the chapel doors, she saw the clown running towards the door. She got the big wooden doors closed just in time to hear the loud thud of the axe hitting the door. The chapel was the securest place on the school grounds because there was only one way in, which was through the thick chapel doors. While there were windows in the chapel, they were smaller and higher than the windows in the classrooms, so they were going to be harder to climb through. The children were petrified, and the teachers talked in hushed tones while barricading the door. The problem was that they needed to get help, but there was no phone in the chapel. That meant that someone physically needed to go for help. However, before they could decide who would go, there was a loud gunshot outside the chapel door. Then there was some yelling, and they heard that it was safe to come out.
Yeah!
The barricade was removed, and there, dead on the ground near the door to the chapel, was the clown. The man who shot the clown, Helmut Jaeger, just happened to pass by the school on his way to go hunting and saw the dead headmaster out front. He went to investigate and found the clown hacking away.
Wait, why did he come up? I'm sorry, I need to
just happened to pass by the school on his way to go hunting and saw the dead headmaster out front. He went to investigate and found the clown hacking away at the door. Jaeger shot the clown once in the heart when the clown charged at him.
You know homie got pristine aim too.
The authorities arrived a short time later, and they collected the body of the clown. They tried to identify the body, but no one knows who he was or where he came from. Some speculate that he was an escaped mental patient, but no asylum within 50 miles had a patient missing. Others contend that it may have been the secret son of one of the townspeople who was locked away because he was schizophrenic, while others believe that the clown was the result of some Nazi experiment in a small German town. However, the purpose and the nature of the experiment are unclear. Sadly, we may never know the real identity of the Cobham Clown. Number 1.
That's wow.
Lucas Secondary School. On January
like, just
27th,
imagine being in that spot. Like, imagine being a kid. I was thinking more of a teacher. Like, you gotta, you know, you gotta make sure these little motherfuckers do not die. I'd be scared. I don't care if I'm 30, bro. I'd be like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like, if I ain't got a, like, you know what I mean? If he's got a weapon, I don't got a weapon. I would be like, shit.
Lucas Secondary School in London, Ontario, Canada, had an emergency lockdown. In the end, it had turned out to be a false alarm. It was an odd one, though. The school had been called at 1:45
Is that why the
PM
fuck that shit
to
like?
tell them that a lanky kid dressed in black.
I'm sorry. Why they fucking like wrap that? You know, like why not just put it on the floor? That's doing too much. I think. Like
Carrying an electric guitar case was coming to shoot up the school at 1:50.
Okay.
The caller seemed
I heard
serious,
guitar. I was like, yeah.
so the school's principal, Mark Clifford, ordered the school into lockdown and called the police. They arrived just in time to see a young man dressed in black carrying a guitar case walking towards the front door of the school.
Yeah,
they drew their guns.
That's why I was nodding with it, because I thought a guitar, not a...
Told him to get on his knees. The bewildered young man did as he was told. The police handcuffed him and put him in the back of the police car. They asked him what was in the case, and he said it was a guitar. They opened the case, and sure enough, it was a guitar.
Oh, yeah.
With the school in lockdown, Principal Clifford was led to the young man whom he recognized as an 18-year-old student named Brock Holland. The police and Principal Clifford decided that since Holland hadn't done anything wrong, it would be best to talk to him in the principal's office. Once there, Holland claimed that he knew nothing about the call. He told them that he had skipped his second-last class of the day because he had gotten a tryout for a local punk band that was going on tour. Holland had always been more focused on his music career than his education.
Respect.
So when he got a MySpace message,
stay in school, kids.
Go to a tryout at 1:30 on the dot.
Oh, they set that fool up, bro. I mean, do not trust motherfucker.
At an address about 5 blocks away from the school, he didn't think twice about skipping school.
MySpace, like it.
However, when Holland went to the address,
wow,
he found it was just a vacant building. He looked around for a few minutes, but when he couldn't find anywhere that looked like a place that would host a band tryout, he gave up and returned to the school for his last class of the day.
That could have been way worse.
After hearing his version of the story, the police and the principal talked, and they decided there was nothing they could really do to Holland except punish him for skipping class, so they let him go home. The police left a short time later, and Principal Clifford was left alone in the school. The next morning, the school's administrator made a horrible discovery. She found Principal Clifford dead in his office. His body was sitting in his chair, but his head was missing. According to the official autopsy report, the head was removed with a bone saw. The autopsy tests showed that Principal Clifford had heavy sedatives in his bloodstream. The police lab also discovered that a bottle of scotch that sat on his desk was the source of the sedatives. The police theorized that the whole lockdown was some elaborate plan by the killer. They believed that he or she knew Principal Clifford well enough to know that he had a bottle of scotch in his desk, and they put the sedatives in it. The killer also knew that on really stressful days, the principal would sit alone at his desk and have a drink before going home. It was something he did while he was married, but it was a habit he continued after his divorce and lived alone. The killer lured Holland away from the school and then called in the threat,
which
set in motion the incredibly stressful day.
I don't need that picture.
Clifford drank the scotch. Then, after he passed out from the sedative, the killer went into the office, sawed off his head, and then took the head with him. The identity of the killer is a mystery, as are the whereabouts of Principal Clifford's head. Subscribe for more.
No!